Hey everybody, welcome once again to Made in Abyss Weekly with Best Guy Ever.
Maiden Abyss. The Abyss of Maidens. It was, what's up, everybody? How's it going?
I feel
Low
it's
energy.
funny
Low energy
we
here.
never really clarify like who you are for anybody who doesn't know.
That's true. That's a fair
Like
point.
we moved this show to the main channel, we've never introduced you. You're Best Guy Ever of the YouTube channel Best Guy Ever, the second best anime YouTuber on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm number one, everybody.
Yeah.
Anime videos, video games, etc., etc. Yeah, go subscribe.
Why
I'm
are
a
we
good
wasting time by advertising who Nate is? Because nothing happened in this episode of Made in Abyss, Nate. This episode
it was
kind
a
of
little
sucked,
things.
dude. I thought this episode legit. I got fucking bored, and I stayed bored.
I felt a little bit of that. I mean, this was by far the least dense episode thus far, and that is unfortunate. Everything that did happen was interesting and provocative, the little that did, of which there was basically exactly one thing. And it kind of is just set up for, like, an explanation that will come, I think, next episode.
How fucking blue-balled and pissed were you at the end of the episode when after, like, legitimately minutes of build-up, we just see a white square and then it's over, a white cube.
That was a very hard cut. It was very abrupt, and it felt like they were going to actually do something. But then it's a teaser, as it turns out.
The moment they showed the cube and like it played that musical sting, I went, "Oh, this is the end of the episode." Oh no!
Unfortunately,
I really wanted to know anything just so that something would have happened. You know, like This episode, the kids, they go into the place, they go into the fucking seeker camp. They meet the Ozen the Unmovable. She's a crazy old bitch, like we've been warned she would be. I hate her voice.
Really?
It's like, it's so over the top to me. Like, just the constant, "Oh, you kids have come to my place. Ooh, I'm weird and kooky."
She is a bit like that. I like her. I mean, I love her. I mean, I love her design. She's beautiful. I
love
just
the
like
design.
looking at her. Let me quote my hero, George Costanza, real quick and say, "I want to have sex with a tall woman." And that's how I feel. That's how I feel about Ozen the Immovable. She is a beauty, and I love her.
I would want to hug her. I could give her a big hug.
She's, I don't know, something about her. Her like her tired kind of looking eyes, her very what's the word I'm looking for? Her slight smile, her weird hair like a bull. Oh, I love her. She's adorable.
I think she's a displaced Katanagatari character.
Yes. Yep. Even
Like,
Reg comments on like how weird and abstract looking her hair is. Which I want more of that. I hope we get more weirdo characters with like Liza, the mom. Like, she has these like ridiculous hair curls that we see, and like it looks cartoony, even like being in an anime. It looks like over the top, like a person wouldn't have hair like that. Ozen, we're seeing a little bit of that, where they're like weird hair that the characters actually comment on. Is that bizarre?
Maybe going deeper into the abyss just makes you a fucking weirdo. Like,
well, we do know that there is like transformative properties of going that deep, so maybe that is actually an in-canon thing. The fact that the characters comment on how weird she is, maybe that's true. I could see it.
I mean, the thing about Ozen is like she looks weird and she acts kind of weird, but her voice is like so much weirder than that. Like, she's using this like really like demented voice to say otherwise normal shit, like, you know, "Oh, well, I'm taking this white whistle for a while. I'll give it back to you guys in exchange for those whistles when you leave." But it's like, "I'm taking this white whistle with me." It's like, that's just the way it sounded to me.
I understand. I legitimately don't pay that much attention to like Japanese voice acting outside of the general tone that I'm hearing, because I don't understand it, and I like it that way. I don't want to know exactly what the words mean. It leaves my imagination open to interpret things as I will. That's a fine criticism. I don't think I had as big a problem with it. But, of course, she does have these moments of, like, that are kind of creepy. Like, it's funny the way Rico, like when Ozen... Okay, so Rico says, like, "Hey, thanks for, you were the one who helped my mom carry me back up in that, like, curse protection thing. I know that was really hard. Thank you. And Ozen's just like, yeah, that was a big bummer. Wish I hadn't done it. That was that was really a waste of my time doing that. That was
I figured
that was
she was going to say something like that from, like, just the hints we were given of this character before. Like, I feel like what has been delivered is exactly what, like, my first thought was of, like, what this character was going to be.
Yeah.
It's like, she's going to be a weird, creepy older lady who is, like, just doesn't like this girl.
And that's a bit unfortunate
like,
that there's no surprise here. There's really nothing. Yeah. That is a little unfortunate.
That's the thing about the whole episode. It's just like, I was waiting for something to come out about Ozen or the Seeker Camp or something, and we get a hint that might happen, but then it doesn't before the episode's out. So the amount of new information we have is basically zero. Like, at most, we have a potential confirmation that the mom is dead, because Ozen's like, I saw the grave, she's definitely dead, how else do you think the white whistle will come to the surface? Which, I mean, that's always going to be up in the air throughout the series, because it seemed from the beginning like it would be obvious that the mom's dead. So the fact that they're even leaving it like an open question at all makes it more suspicious that they'd be like bringing it up again. Like, yeah, we already figured she was probably dead, you know? Like, if they wanted that to be the big reveal, then they would have not made it so obvious that she was dead.
Methinks the anime doth protest too much about the death of the mom. Yeah. Well, hey. Okay. There was also some good stuff in here. In fact, I think my favorite part of the whole episode was the very beginning, as I noticed they really put effort into the landscapes of the very first scene that was like new, because they do the recap at the beginning. But after that, when we see them like riding the gondola, the like pink and purple clouds behind like the silhouettes of the upside down trees in the forest. This is like the best. This is like the most cool otherworldly like environment we've been in, and we've got a chance to like explore it a little bit more now.
Well, and that's another thing that made me sad though.
Yeah,
is that I was so hyped for this floor, and then we spend the whole episode in a fucking log cabin that didn't look cool.
In fairness, that log cabin has cool backstory to it and is interesting in itself, but I agree, like, it's just basically a wood environment once we're inside. So it doesn't really capture that kind of awe-inspiring shit of the landscapes at the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, the things that have made this show interesting, like, the most captivating elements are, like, the incredible background art. So we didn't really get that this episode because we were in this log cabin that wasn't that interesting to look at. It's, like, the world-building tidbits, which we got, like, a tiny little fraction of with the whole artifacts thing. And I was a little confused about that, because he said these were, like, level 4 artifacts, but he also said that they weren't going up to the surface. So,
yeah, I don't know why.
What I thought he was implying, and they didn't really continue on this, but it's cool if it was. If this is true, it's my favorite thing that happened in the episode, was the idea that even though these artifacts are, like, massively better than the ones on the surface, they're not better enough to be worth carrying back up.
So,
like they wouldn't be worth the effort to transport up there, even though they're better than the shit that you'd find on level 1. That's what I thought he was trying to say, but I could be wrong.
I really didn't know. That seems like a reasonable interpretation to me. I honestly had no idea what the fuck they were talking about. And that hopefully that gets clarified as we go deeper. They're clearly setting up that just like artifacts get more, or relics get like more complicated and interesting and just better as you go deeper. So like that's me reducing it down to the simplest elements so I can kind of understand what the fuck they're talking about.
Right.
Let me just say about the environment they were in. Okay, there was one thing that, upon reflection, really did bother me about this episode. And I think it's actually been kind of a problem all along to some extent, but really this was like the biggest thing. Okay, so they're in the Seeker Camp, right? This is like the hub that all, what do they call them? Relic hunters or cave diggers or something? Whatever. They're what those people like stop at on their way down. So like this is an important place where you'd expect to see tons of people. And in fact, so like there's this little moment where Ozen gives Reg and Rico blue whistles so that they will not be like, so that the people that are around them won't be like suspicious that there's a red whistle there and be like, hey, that's a red, what are you doing here? You're not allowed to be here. Like, Ozen doesn't want to deal with that, so she gives them blue whistles as a decoy. But we see 0 other characters anywhere.
Yeah.
Like they're and like I'm reflecting now upon watching this episode about like how many characters have I actually seen in this entire show. Like it's been fucking barren this whole time, especially this episode where like they actually make a point about like, okay, people are going to be judging you, you gotta have these, and yet we see zero people, not even the indications of life in the background anywhere. It's like actually bizarre and kind of annoying.
Yeah. This episode just feels so much less detailed than some of what we've had before. And like this is exactly why I don't like watching shows while they're airing.
Right.
Because I mean, it's common for the middle episodes of a series to be like where things first of all, we've got these long recaps at the start of episodes now. So we're wasting like a whole minute and a half at the start of an episode. And
you know what?
Hey,
those are the sort of thing that would annoy me if I was watching back to back, but because I come back after a week and watch them, I kind of like them.
Right.
But whatever.
Well, I mean, it's not so bad in that way, but it's just the fact that it's a minute and a half less of the episode. And why are they doing it? Because that's a minute and a half they don't have to animate.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
And then you watch the rest of the episode and like just like the last one, there's been not a whole lot of animation going on.
Yeah.
Even the backgrounds are getting a little wonky here. So it's just like, oh man, we're really in like the budget crunch part of the show. We're in the part that that things are slow, so they don't put as much effort into it because they have to put the best stuff at the front and back of the show. Yep. And when you're just watching it week by week, it's like, well, I didn't get an amazing episode last week, so I was hoping to get one this week so I could, rekindle the interest. But no, now we're another week with an even worse episode. And like, so now by the time next week rolls around, my expectations are going to be like kind of down in the dumps. I'm like, Made in Abyss has been as amazing lately. Not as captivating. If I was watching this in one sitting, I'd just bounce right through this whole section. I'd probably forget that that there was a lull, because the ending would blow my mind if indeed it is to do so. But
I'm with you, man. Anime, it's pretty much always better to watch a show all the way straight through if you can. What can we do? This is the grand experiment of anime every week, at least for Digi. I mean, I've been doing this. I've been reading One Piece every week for 15 years. So
but you always find half an hour worth of shit to say about every 20 pages of One Piece.
But that's because I'm a genius. Oh, also because it's One Piece. Yeah, that's right.
And because you repeat yourself constantly.
I have to repeat myself. These people don't get it. They don't understand how good it is. If
anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, Podcast, the show that Best Guy Ever does with Hypocrite.
Let me tell you, people, if you like yourself some, let's fill this fucking time. If you like yourself some One Piece, you got to be subscribing to the Podcast. It's actually kind of hard to find because like it's spelled weird. But if you go to like the Procrastinators channel, look at wait, is it even there? I don't even know how you find
it's in
it.
the related channels.
Okay, go to the Procrastinators in related channels, Podcast. Every week, the day it comes out, One Piece, me and Hypocrite do an episode review, and it's great, and it's super fun. And you will never hear anyone talk about how great One Piece is for as long as the two of us.
No.
So there you go.
Yeah, and so anyway, back to Made in Abyss.
Right.
What did you think of the Trap Boy guy?
Well, first of all, thanks
boy.
Everyone for commenting that. I just glanced at like the comment section.
I didn't even see the comments about that.
I'm not looking anymore. I mean, I feel bad even saying it, but like I'm a little bit cooled on my like passion for the show right now, just on this episode. So I'm probably not even gonna check the comments to hear like, ooh, what's the buzz? But I still have faith. People, don't worry. Like basically a huge waste of time. Like he's just there to be like the nice guy who helps them out and like tells them about things. I kind of like
the idea that like as a kid who is a lower or a higher level whistle and has to live down on the other floors, he's like, oh, I haven't really ever gotten to see kids before, so
I like that.
Please hang around. Like that's a cool detail, but otherwise just kind of a one note character. Like he's just nice kid.
It does kind of characterize Ozen a little bit more, just by like, I mean, I'm just kind of inferring here, but I'm assuming that Ozen dressed this boy up like a girl because it amuses her.
That's what I assume as well.
That's what, which I like. That's funny. And it's Marulk, whatever, was really embarrassed when Rico just walks out naked, and she's all like, even though she's dressed like a girl, there were some kind of fun moments with her, but like in the wasteland of this episode.
Yeah, it's just... So the main scene here is that Rico goes wandering through the treehouse and sees like a weird monster, like a half like
a
half
torso.
monster.
It's like a torso
I
man.
thought it was really strange because she runs into bed next to God, I can't even remember any of his fucking names. Regs. And ends up pissing the bed. I thought it was odd that she didn't bother waking him up. Like, I thought she would probably be like, okay, that thing might be following me. Let's get into the action. But then the next day, like, her reaction is basically she thought it was not of this world. Like, she saw this as a supernatural creature. And that struck me as really odd because, like, why would she assume that this is any different from all the other fucking weird-ass monsters? Like, is it just because she's never heard of this one? Yeah. Or... like, what made this seem more out of this world than the shit that's in the abyss?
This was handled very differently. Like I was expecting sort of maybe some kind of, like, action-y scene as she, like, runs away and it's, like, chasing her, and then there's, like, real consequences and they have to deal with it, which probably would have been more interesting. But like, I feel like they're going for some sort of, like, otherworldly thing based on the way that, like, so this thing is clearly, like, zombie-ish. It's, like, clearly a human torso,
I just assumed
only
it was
up.
Mostly dead. Like, I wasn't...
You could see its spine
I didn't
hanging
know
out.
what the fuck it was supposed to be. Like, to me, it just looked like another weird monster that was maybe on its death legs, you know?
I feel like maybe this didn't translate from the manga so well. I feel like there was probably a really good silhouette in the manga. I don't know. There's something supernatural going. I mean, okay, so clearly, and then when Ozen hears them talking about this the next day, she's like, "Oh, you want to know the secrets of the world, or so?" And I guess that's related to this somehow. She made that connection.
Not clear at all. Yeah. Like, what did seeing that thing and hearing them say, "Oh, it seemed like a supernatural creature," didn't leave me with this sense of like, there's a huge mystery about this world that is now being implied by this half-dead monster thing. Like, it just kind of made me think, okay, well, what the hell's the deal with the thing? And then the episode, like, strings it out, like, it's building it up, like, oh, it is gonna be a big mystery, and I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck's the deal with it? And then, big white cube. And I'm like, okay. Like, putting the dramatic sting end of episode thing on that big white cube, like, nothing about it visually gets me excited. It's not like I'm going, oh, what's the big white cube for? I'm just like, oh, I guess I gotta wait another week to know what the big fucking cube's about. So
yeah, like I'm sure it's important, but we're told literally nothing about it, and I have no idea what the connection could possibly be between that thing and this torso monster thing. Yeah, pretty deflating ending there. Did not care for that. Honestly, it was a little bit reminiscent of that last episode of fucking Aromanga, where it's just like bam, end, we're done. Just a little bit of that. Yeah, disappointing, not so great.
It just felt like spinning its wheels for an episode in, like, even though, again, episode 5 didn't have a ton of shit. Like, it had a few things that were cool that we commented on.
They got all the way through layer 2, dude. That was like, they did shit.
And even if nothing was happening, like you said, just watching the montage scenes alone.
Yeah.
Like, just hearing the music and seeing the gorgeous background art can be enough with this show. But this episode didn't have that, like, crutch. It didn't have the awesome background art. So it just kind of felt like, oh, what's the appeal of this particular episode?
You know what's
what
funny?
am I meant to get out of this? I felt like I could have skipped this episode and not missed anything.
I that's not even too far off. The one moment of, like, this wasn't even progression. This is like the closest thing to, like, progression. Remember how great it is to see, like, them at the end of the episode where they show on the map, like, how far they've gotten?
Yeah.
Like, the moment that stands out to me as, like, a little bit of that sort of is when, like, there's a moment where Maraluk says, like, hey, I've never met kids before. You guys should, like, stay here and work with me for a while. And Rico's like, yeah, let's do that. Like, she's being a kid, like, yeah, new friend, let's do things. But then she remembers, like, no, I've got a mission. I have to stay on task and not get distracted. And I was like, yes, okay, thank God we're not getting mired down in like this place for a while. So, like, that's good, but still, especially compared to the pace that we've been going up to this point, this felt real dead in the water. I'd like to see some more of that shit. I don't know. Literally not enough things happened this episode for me to be, like, satisfied with it. That the script was just underwritten in that way.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that this is just because we're in, like, the midpoint of a show that has pretty fucking high production value. You know, the first 2 episodes in particular were like unbelievable level of animation quality. And, you know, I understand this is the kind of production that there's no way it could have been at that quality the entire way through. But like, maybe this is just a sacrifice that has to be made so that we'll be able to reserve energy for the later episodes, you know. But
I think so, dude. Those first 3 episodes were fucking magic, and like I still am like, I feel haunted by that moment at the end of episode 3, at the very end, when we see Reg and Rico disappear into the abyss as they leave behind the people in the service. I get fucking chills about how excited I am and how like anxious and worried about their future. So yeah, let's get back to those hype moments that make that payoff worthwhile. Show. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, everybody, that's it for this week. Fucking, I can't believe we got 20 minutes out of that.
Oh, you know what? I know, it's pretty amazing. Actually, the one last thing I wanted to say is, could this torso monster be the much celebrated possible creepier shit that people have been talking about? Is this it, folks? Is this that spooky shit? Is this just the first taste of like, oh, there's zombies. Oh, there's corpse monsters. There's, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. We'll see. Okay, that's it. I'm done.
All right, peace out.
Bye, guys.